be it investors looking for projects to invest in, or to do carbon compensation. So this first start page of the platform is a list of all the projects which want to be public and want to be found. So if I'm an investor and I want to search, let's say, for an agroforestry project, which is producing bamboo, because I would like to invest in bamboo, I can filter this and I will get all the projects currently on the platform which are producing bamboo. In the near future, we will have also investment opportunities, which is very important for almost every project. So if a project or an organization has a project which needs like an investment of, let's say, 100,000 euro, it will be able to flag its project so that the investor can also find that specific project, because he has, turns out to have 100,000 euro to invest in a sustainable forest project. So I can also filter by country, and we'll do this now to bring in all projects which are in Indonesia. And probably some of you participated in the talk of Paul Berger's, I think it was, when was it? Friday, I think. And
yeah,
I forgot that today is Monday.
Wednesday, last week Wednesday.
Wednesday, okay. And so he's also using Explorer.land to show their project with transparency. So let me just go through the way you explore a project. Now, I'm interested in this project, which is this food forest program in West Sumatra, and in West Timor also. And so by clicking on it, the platform brings me to the project region. And I have always two sections in my platform. So there is this content part, or a content panel, where you will find all type of, let's say, text information, but also multimedia. And you have always the map, which is interactive, and both parts are connected to each other. So for instance, I am able to follow the latest news, which are here in my timeline, but you see also where the news appears on the map. If I'm interested in reading a bit more about a certain post or a certain news, I can click on it, and you will be brought into the area where that news took place. So I can even zoom in more. Each geopost has also like a gallery, which in turn, it can be presented as a presentation, like a PowerPoint presentation with some text describing what you see on that specific image. And then you can also navigate through the map from one post to another post. So that's one possibility. You can do it also without just using the map. If I turn off this, I have all of this information in a summarized way in pop-ups. So that's another way to explore the project. Now, the next important part is how the project is presented on the map. So you have these different sites of intervention. In this case, each polygon represents a farmer. I can get information about each farmer there. I can also explore all the sites just by going to my site menu and, like for instance, selecting only the sites which are infrastructure or just the ones which are villages, or in this case, all the other ones which are agroforestry. And I can search for farmers. I can search for, different keywords. On the map itself, like I said, we have all these sites described by polygons, and we have this base layer, which in this case comes from Microsoft, but we do also offer different space layers, which have, we're taking at different points in time, and so you can choose the best one to show your project. Now, one issue we have with the base layers is you never exactly know from when they are. And sometimes in remote areas, the resolution is not so good. So one thing which is possible to do with Explorer, and I have to jump to another project to show it to you, is that you can upload also your drone imagery. And to give you an example how this would look like, I'm just visiting this project in Panama. And as you see, here we have, again, the problem of the clouds, but also that the drone, the base layer itself is not up to date. Sorry. So if I turn this off, I do recognize that, you don't have trees where they're supposed to be planting trees, but that's why they did a high resolution drone images and uploaded it here, so that you can see with a high level of detail, which is what is happening on the ground. And you already see the forest growing in this case. So in 1 year they will do, or this year they will do another drone image. So it will be possible then to compare one area between the different years and see, as in the example I showed you during my presentation, how the trees are growing there. So that's one very important issue I just mentioned. The other issue is that whoever is visiting the project, and maybe I'll jump back again to the Indonesian project. Is that we are also, So what I was saying is you're exploring the project, you see some drone images, you see the information that the organization is delivering. But if you want to have an independent way to confirm that trees are growing or that deforestation is happening, what we started to do, and this is being developed now quite fast forward, so in the next few weeks you will have the full functionality of this, is that you can look up different thematic layers, as we call them. So currently we just have this three layers because a client of ours asked for it, where you can see, for instance, forest fragmentation 2017. So in the next few weeks we will have for different years and so on. But just to give you this as an example, and so it's interesting to understand how this project is working at the front lines of deforestation, to just minimize and reduce or even stop the deforestation there. And so this is a combination of information that has a huge value for whoever is visiting to understand how these different thematic layers show or give additional information about the project you would not have access to in another way. So this thematic layers, where you will have indexes of biodiversity, we will have different forest indicators, deforestation, forest density, and so on, help in this presentation to build up trust and to understand what is really happening on the ground. So finally, or maybe not finally, but there are different possibilities, there are different things here. So you can list all of your partners. This is just a more formal thing, but quite important if you're working with different organizations within your project. And as I said, talking about how Explorer.land would be useful also in the content of mountain forestry. The thing is that in the future, in the near future, we will be introducing the 3D information. So going from this purely orthorhombic map, so this flat map, we are going over to having a 3D landscape. And we did already build a prototype there. So I will try to find it somewhere on my computer. Yeah, here it is. So this is just a prototype and gives you an idea of how, this project presentation will look like in near future. So you would be able to see your project in this 3D landscape. And this is information which currently is not available. So you don't understand, or the visitor doesn't understand, is the project happening in a valley? Is it just like a flat landscape, or is it really in mountains regions? And we have one example of one site here, already combined with drone imagery. Oops, sorry. And so this is the future of Explore, you know, to have all the information I just showed to you, the posts, the sites, the drone layers embedded in this, well, quite impressive 3D landscape. And so I suppose that this is also a very interesting thing if one day you use Explore, or, you know, like other organizations now using Explore, to have their project presented in this 3D landscape. Yeah, and so maybe to conclude, if I manage to bring in my presentation. Just 1 second, okay. So just to conclude what our goal with Explore.land is, you know, as a consolidation of all the tools we have been working, the first goal is really to transparently present a forest project or a landscape restoration project, and to tell its story. That's a component or part I didn't talk to, because one of the most important things if you're trying to present your project is to tell the story of what is happening on the ground and the people working within that project. It's also a searchable database. So let's talk about, let's say it's a portfolio of projects for whoever is interested in collaborating, in learning from projects, or even investing in projects, to find those projects. And so this third part of the challenge I presented at the beginning, the transparent communication, is that with Explore.land, we are now able to show, or you are able to show, where the project is located, which is the geographical context. You're able to show the evolution of your project over times, like with the drone images, with thematic layers. So we have this time component. In the future, we'll be able to share the project's data. Like in the example I showed you previously, that we can fetch forest information data in real time and show what is taking place on the ground within a certain site. And at the end, also to tell the real story about who is involved in the project. And with that, to build trustful relations with stakeholders in the public, and showing that you're doing a successful, or you're carrying out a successful restoration and reforestation project there. And with this transparent communication really gives huge value to the organizations, and they gain in trust with all of their stakeholders. So just to finish, Explore.land is also this hub for different type of actors in this field, like investors, buyers of commodities, something I did not talk about. Also academic institutions which are searching for projects they would like to, to collaborate with. And yeah, and I think I will now just jump this. So we see the whole thing from this integrative and yeah, sorry. From this loop where the idea is, to inspire people to engage, to fund, and then to monitor the impact of the organizations, in order then again to convince others to again invest in that project. Well, I hope I was able to give you different inputs which will help you to understand better how to use some technologies, at least, to do a better forestry management. And I hope I could touch, at least at some points, the the mountain part of the whole story.
Yeah.
I don't know if there are now questions.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. I think this is a very interesting presentation, yeah, especially this age of technology. So about how to use this technology to support the sustainable forest management, especially in the mountain areas. I think I will give to Mbak Laras to maybe there are some question or Mbak Laras or oh Mbak Laras. Oh, she's okay. Maybe if you have question, please raise your hand.
Hello?
Hello, hello.
Yeah, Zoom just crashed.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Yeah,
back.
that's okay. 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 Mbak Laras, are you there? Oh, she's feeling unwell, Mbak Laras. So, okay. Let's continue. If you have, okay. Are you back, Mbak Laras, or? Okay. Okay, so if you have question, please raise your hand about the use of technology. So maybe I have short question for Patrick. So everybody can have like a account in the explorer.land, yeah, for a free account trial, also to post their project in the explorer.land, or how to get it, I mean how to register or something like that.
Yeah, so it's possible to get an account to use Explorer.land. I will share it here in the chat, and it's like I would say it's a free account, and it will allow you to set up your projects and to test the platform and use also the platform, let's say, for internal team usage. Yeah? So you can invite as many persons as you want. And then depending on the nature of your projects, so if it's a commercial project and so on, and you want to use the platform to within your business or your work, there is a fee you have to pay. But also if you're doing it in an academic context, we could also consider to set, to upgrade your account or your project, but without, free of cost, if you can show that you're using it, let's say, for research context or so. So
okay.
that's a possibility to use it.
Yeah. Okay. I think okay. I think there is no. Oh, there is Endang Christine Purba. Please.
Okay. Hi,
Yeah.
Dr. Patrick. Thank you for sharing your experience and information. I like to ask just one question. As we know that when we talk about sustainable management mountain, it should be related to locals. I mean the community that lives or that connected well to the area. From your perspective or from your experience, how can we connect it to the people, since technology is a little bit like really familiar with locals, especially in Indonesia? Do you have any kind of experience about that? Please share. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I don't have experience, but I don't know if I understood also the question correctly. So you're saying it's about sustainable usage of the forest by the local community?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I think how this technology can bridge the
yes,
the sustainable forest management to the people.
Well, I can give you one example, but this was in indigenous communities in Ecuador. And so each community had a completely different approach to how to use the forest. So there was one community, I mean, they wanted to use the forest commercially, but they understood if they cut down the forests, they cannot use it commercially anymore because it's gone. So they tried with ecotourism and built up, like eco launches and tried to create a conservation park in their community area. But just a few kilometers far away, there was another community, and they were just cutting down woods and selling it to some smaller companies which then sell it in the city. And they were near to destroying the whole forest they had. So. And from a pedagogical, or let's say, from point of view, what locals were doing is I went there to map out their community area, and they used that map, high resolution map, to print it really big and to hang up in the community center within the village or the community village, and to invite everyone to understand how much forest they still have, how much forest they have been cutting down. And the idea was to repeat this every year so that the whole community understands, okay, what is the impact that we're having? So this is a very, let's say, simple way without too much, let's say, science behind it, but just using this high resolution maps to communicate and to explain people what their type of non-sustainable land usage is doing to the landscape. And so this is something I experienced myself, which was one of the plans of the local organization to work with the community. So that would be a very simple way of trying to, to explain to people what their activities have, what the impact their activities have there. In one slide, now closed, one slide you had about drones and about the advantage of drones is that you can quite easily teach how to use them also to local communities. And so there are a lot of examples, for instance, in Latin America, where communities, they want to sustainably use their forest, but you have illegal logging, you have illegal activities coming from outside. And so they're now using drones to map on regular spaces, zones where they suspect some illegal activities. And so without the need of third parties, because they were taught how to use a drone, they can go in regular, let's say, time intervals and look at those zones which are in danger to see if there's some illegal activity there, to then inform the authorities, or in their case, to go there by themselves, to fight those illegal loggers, for instance, or illegal gold mining or whatever. So this democratization of having access to this remote sensing data through drones is a very important development I have been observing in many parts of the globe. And yeah, so I don't know if this answers your question in some way.
So it should be including I would say training the local for the technology, how to use it, how to upload it, or something like that. Is it correct?
Yeah. If I understood,
Okay.
no. Yes.
Okay,
I mean, the web
thank you.
maps or bringing that information then online is also important to I'm missing the word now, sorry. To make people become more conscious about the threats that exist in remote areas, because the majority of the population being maybe in living in cities, they do not really know what happens there. But if you are able to empower local people to gather that information and then make it public, like over our platform, or there are some other platforms specifically for indigenous communities, for just as an example, then you can have journalists, you can have authorities looking at that platform online map platform as a monitoring of what is happening on the fields to intervene if necessary, if there's then political willing there.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Patrick.
Okay. Okay, I think times is almost up. We have only 1 minute to wrap up. If there is no more question, then I think we can close this session. But if you still have question, we can have very short, but I don't think. Okay, so I think there is no more question, and I think we have, okay, we have, yeah, we can close this session. So in the chat box, Dr. Patrick already shared his email. So if you have any further questions, you can send email to him, and he will respond to you directly. So thank you, Dr. Patrick, and thank you everyone for joining this lecture today. So I think we can close this session, and yeah, have a nice day. Or have a nice evening.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Goodbye. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Terima kasih Bu Ari.
Ya. Mbak Laras, ini siapa yang closing anunya hari ini? Nggak ada ya? Lah, saya langsung live saja ya, izin.
Ya.
Terima kasih Bu Ari.
Ya, sama-sama. Sampai ketemu besok.
Laras.
Sampai tapi ya.